Uh, What's up, guys? Welcome to the Tech Tony podcast. Today, I got another guest speaker with us. He is a friend, a marketer, a guy who pretty much knows what the heck he's talking about, Tim Tompkins. He is a digital marketer, just like me. You guys have followed me for a while. I pretty much stick to Google Ads. I venture around with Google My Business and work with everything that Google has to offer. Tim is a Google guy himself. Tim, introduce yourself to everyone and say what's up.
Well, first off, I got to say that I have been on hundreds of podcasts at this point, uh, but I have never felt so honored and really felt like I made it to the top of the chain until this moment right here. I mean, this is basically the equivalent, the basketball equivalent of being on the Low Post podcast. So thank you so much for having me on, man. It's we've been working together for a minute, and it's great to actually converse via recorded camera this time around.
Right? That is good. That is good. Yeah, you've been on the Patriots podcast, right?
Yeah, paid search, and I think I've had 3 or 4 podcasts of my own at this point, and then been a guest on a number of others. Most recently, it's been pretty much all Google Ads related, which is nice.
Nice, fantastic. Today's topic, we're going to go over a few things. Primarily, some of my latest visitors on the podcast had talked about Facebook. They talked about SEO. They talked about YouTube. Today, we're going to be sticking to Google, and more specifically, Google Ads, and going over what's a good way to put this? How not to be screwed, I guess.
Right? Yeah. How to know if your CPC manager is artificially inflating the metrics that you're receiving?
You know, I can't tell how many times I've seen that. Wasn't it you who discovered on the health center, one of my clients there, they were tracking form submissions, but the form submissions weren't working, but they were stating it was working.
I don't know if it was who. It wasn't. It wasn't them. It was. It was wasn't it a dentistry client? I'm trying to remember. That was a couple of months ago.
It was.
But yeah, essentially you have a form submission firing false positives or something along those lines because it's not tracking properly, which of course artificially inflates the conversion rate or artificially deflates the cost per conversion.
Golly. And so this client was just the whole time thinking, oh yeah, I'm getting leads, when in hindsight, they were getting nothing, if anything. Might be getting something, but it
Right. Yep, 100%.
What do you recommend businesses that are doing this in-house or are hired a third party like me or you? What do they need to look for? Because a lot of times they're just like, oh, impressions and clicks, but it's more than just that.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the metrics too that a lot of CPCs like to use to show value is a click-through rate. And they like to say, look how high our click-through rate is compared to the industry standard. A click-through rate can honestly be a pretty poor indicator of searcher intent and whether or not your ads are meeting that searcher intent. There's a lot of different ways that you can increase the click-through rate for an ad and make it so the user doesn't fully understand what they're clicking on. If a user doesn't fully understand what they're clicking on, they likely aren't going to be somebody that's converting on your site. They can add a keyword insertion as the H1 within the ads and that sort of thing. They can be using all broad match keywords and not be excluding branded terms and those sorts of things. So the one thing you do want to look for with your CPCs is making sure that they've added negative keyword lists for their branded terms, for non-branded campaigns, those sorts of things. Ask about what match types some of the ad groups are using. Generally speaking, you should never have more than 1 or 2 broad match keywords within an ad group itself. And that's for some of the analytics data as well, because I do realize that a lot of the time, the bounce rate, pages per session, sort of data isn't necessarily a conversion. You'll have a pretty good idea about whether or not your ads are targeting the correct audience if the paid ads are at least somewhat comparable in terms of analytics data that your other sources are. Organic, direct, referrals, that sort of thing.
When we work with websites, a lot of times there are goals. What's the whole point of someone coming to my website?
Yep.
Is it phone calls? Is it form submission? Sometimes it can be anything as simple as download a PDF, watch my YouTube video on the website. Um, with someone that is a small business that's looking at Google Ads and wants to venture into it, what do you think would be the best thing for them? Would it be, maybe we just need traffic to the site in general, or we need people to download your PDF, or should it just be we're tracking phone calls? That's all we're doing.
Phone calls is a hard one. I like to explain it like this. There's a buying process to the journey depending on what the product is. So I'm a homeowner. Earlier, a couple of months ago, I put in a fence behind my house. The fence was about a $2,500 fence. I mulled around and I looked at different contractors for 2 or 3 months before I finally settled on the one that I wanted to give this ass cash of money to, right? I clicked on a bunch of ads. At the end of the day, the contractor that I called, I had clicked on an ad, I wrote down the phone number, and then I called from my cell. Now, Google Ads isn't going to get the credit for that. Your Google Ads manager is not going to get the credit for that. But that call 100% led to the actual conversion itself. If call tracking is something that is really, really important to your business, and I do have clients where the amount of phone calls they're getting is 100% how they are measuring the value of their ads. There are services like CallRail that you can purchase on a monthly basis, which essentially what they're doing is they're switching out that number that's on your website and they're loading up the other one. And that's the way, but that's an additional cost. So if you're going to be measuring the success and your budget specifically on the amount of phone calls you're getting, and you have the budget to do so. This isn't something that clients that are spending $5 or $10 a day on Google should be doing. Go ahead and get something like CallRail. There is a lot of value to that. Understand the purchase journey. If you are a furniture store, for example, and you're using search and display to get clients over to your website, I don't know, you can tell me maybe, Tony, when's the last time you were looking for a couch and you bought that couch on the first time you clicked on the website?
I didn't.
Ever.
I bounced around, did the research. I knew what type of couch I wanted. It's funny you
right.
said, I was actually looking at couch. Have you been looking at my data, Tim? I was couch shopping because I saw a TikTok video about a particular couch. I was like, I like that couch, and I started doing research about it. And I did click on the ads for it. I plan on buying it, but I didn't buy it immediately.
No, nobody does. Nobody clicks on a website and buys a couch on a first or click basis and orders it. That's just not part of the buying process. So if you're one of those kind of retailers where it's not a t-shirt, it's a higher priced item, make sure that you're coupling your search campaign with a retargeting shopping campaign. Or retargeting Facebook and those sorts of things. And so when you're looking at your data between the different campaigns, don't always look at the actual conversion rate that your search campaign is getting. Go ahead and analyze how is this impacting your other acquisition channels. And a lot of that information you can get within Google Analytics as well, and your CPC manager should be more than happy to share it with you. Really quickly, I do have an account, for example, where their retargeting Facebook leads have gone up 40% since launching search. Now, a lot of that audience is coming through search, even if search isn't the first click conversion. They're then getting that conversion through the click that search brought in just on Facebook instead.
Interesting. When it comes down to businesses that are starting ads, there are search ads, YouTube ads, display ads, and what was that one thing you told me? The local
search. I've had a lot of success with local search. If you are a local brick and mortar, a restaurant, a retailer, you want to get people in the door. Google has something now called local search campaigns, where you need to have a branded YouTube video in order to do it. It doesn't have to be a super complex one as well. It could be you just talking to a camera for 35 seconds.
Hold on, Tim. You're saying people need content? One more time.
that content does matter. And that same video too, you can repurpose for a display campaign. But yeah, if you are a local brick and mortar, the goal is to get people within your business's doorstep on a daily basis. Those local presence campaigns, local local traffic campaigns can be extremely valuable. They do really well for restaurants specifically.
It looks like I'm gonna need to go back and have you redo some campaigns, Tim.
Yeah, please do. I love them. The
You're
only
double dipping in my accounts.
the only caveat with those is you do lose a bit of control. There's less audience targeting that you can do. They essentially work the same way that a responsive display ad works. So you put in 3, 4, 5 headlines, 2, 3, 4 descriptions, along with your images and the YouTube video that we're talking about, and it's going to mix and match those and find the best combination, and then those will be displayed on YouTube. They'll be displayed on map results. They'll be displayed on display. They'll be within search as well to a certain extent. Display campaigns, which we've talked a lot about. I have a lot of clients who look. You can spend $5 a day on a display campaign. And there's if you are targeting a small area, right? Let's say you have a print shop in New York, and you know that within a 2-mile audience or 2-mile radius is the only place where your main customers are going to be. You can launch a targeted display campaign, $5 a day. You can spend $300 a month and get 100,000 impressions. And while impressions aren't the most valuable part of a business advertising, this isn't search. These are actual eyes on the name of your business. And yeah, somebody might not need business printing services right now, but when they do, they've seen your ad 4, 5, 6 times, and you're top of mind. There's a lot of different services that you can do on Google, where I fear most people always just go to search. One thing I will say with search, if you're a local business, you're starting up your search ads, never run a smart campaign.
Oh gosh, yes.
Go to somebody like Tony and ask him to launch a search campaign. Never run a smart campaign.
That's the truth. I can't tell how many times a business will be, oh yeah, we run Google Ads, and then I'll just let me see your account, and they're running smart ads. I'm just like, ooh, all that you already spent $300. Like,
no.
no, we stop this.
A big mistake that a lot of smaller businesses make when I get into their accounts is, even if they do have the campaign structure set up, reasonably well, they haven't linked analytics. They don't have any goals created. They don't have any conversions
Yeah, you can't link any of
imported.
that to a smart campaign.
Right. I'm sorry, say that one more time.
You can't link analytics or retargeting to a smart campaign. As far as I'm aware, you can't.
Well, you should be able to, you can link analytics to any Google Ads account. You cannot run a retargeting the campaign with smart ads, though. That's 100% correct. And they'll say, look, we haven't gotten any conversions over the last 30 days. I'm like, well, you aren't tracking any conversions. I mean, maybe you haven't, but so that's a big mistake that a lot of businesses make, is not really understanding the reason why you have Google Analytics and why you're linking it. The optimization to try and optimize an account where you basically have no data, and the only thing that you can do is review the search terms. It's difficult.
Well, for businesses that are listening to this that probably aren't aware of this, because Google, when you, anyone can run Google Ads. Watch a couple bad YouTube videos and you can kind of like figure out smart ads.
Oh my gosh, so many people in India, man.
Yeah, so many people in India. And Google, when you first start, especially if you're on a Google My Business page and you click Start Ads, it forces you into smart ads. And it kind of hides it and calls it expert mode. What Tim and I are using, it's called expert mode. What does a business need to do to recognize that they're using smart ads? Like the recognition and the two differences, and the difference between smart ads and expert mode, as Google calls it.
The easiest way to identify it is when you log into Google Ads and you go to create the ad and you look at the very top right of the screen. There's only going to be like 2 little options. If you're in expert mode, which makes me feel really smart every time they ask me if I want to switch over to it. Yes, I do want to switch to expert mode. There should be at least 4 options on the top right of the screen right there.
And if they don't see that, they need to switch over.
And you're limited. You cannot. You can't in a smart campaign. you don't have, or ad group, you don't have the opportunity to pick specific match types. You can't exclude specific demographics. Your location settings, that's another one that I see a lot of businesses do, which your location settings, this is something that you should ask your ad manager. Is it turned on to people located in, or people located in or interested in? The interested in can work really well if you're a realtor, for example, selling property in Florida and somebody in Arizona is looking for property in Florida. That can work really well if you're a local ice cream shop. And somebody happened to be looking up the demographics of the city you're in, then searches ice cream near me and clicks on your ad, chances are you just wasted that click. So that's another way that you can really waste a lot of spend with Google Ads, specifically within Smart Campaigns as well.
Goodness, yes. Man, Tim, if people want to reach out to you and learn more about you, probably maybe hire you, whatnot, where can they find you?
Oh, we're done already, man. Haven't even gone over audiences yet. Audience
I know.
marketing.
We'll just have to have you back, man. That's the part 2 with Tim Tompkins.
No, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I mean, I guess you could email me at timothytompkins904@gmail.com, but Tony, you and I, we work together a lot. So chances are if they just contact you and you need a build, that I would be the person that would be assisting you with it as well. So I'm happy to have the connection that way.
That's true. For those of you listening, when I onboard clients, even current clients as is, Tim is the guy that does the initial builds. He builds and designs the ads, the concept, learns a bit about your company, and designs the ads and what's going to work best for that company. And then you heard him mention earlier, I know we didn't even mention Irwin. It was off camera. And then when I have another guy that helps me manage the ads, because it can be a little overwhelming. It's good to have someone that has a fresh set of eyes. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want Tim to work on your Google Ads, come talk to me and you'll get Tim.
Yep. So there you go. That's a great way to do it. And I really appreciate you having me on. I hope we can do another episode, because I'd love to dive super deep into display campaigns as well. I know we touched a little bit on the value of having that branded YouTube video, all the different places that you can do that. We didn't talk about remarketing audiences and using those remarketing audiences actually for exclusions within your account, which can really help to save a lot of ad spend. And I just look forward to being back on and we can geek out together.
Yes, and you touched point on it twice already. People, in order to use everything Google has to offer, they have to make content. You have to have an active YouTube video, active YouTube channel, I should say. I wouldn't even say active. You just have to have video. You gotta have something for us to use. Mm-hmm. If you don't, we can't use everything Google has to offer.
And some images.
And some images. That's right.
I mean, it's there's it's one thing I'll notice with the clients I know we got to go is I'm building out a display campaign for them, and I'll say something like, well, please send me any product or storefront images that you have, and they'll only have a couple. I'll scan their website, and to their point, they only have a couple, and then I'll link their Facebook and their Instagram, and I'll see 45. Spend time on your website. As much time as you're spending on your website as you do on social. Look under your acquisition source conversion rates, and you're going to find a lot of the time you're getting a lot more value out of your website than you are out of your social. So just at the very least, split that time evenly.
Better said, man. Thank you so much, guys. And until next week, happy marketing. Y'all take care.